The content you're about to enjoy comes from the archives of The Best You. We're devoted to the very best in personal development, with a platform and resources dedicated to inspiring and changing people's lives. At The Best You, we work with the world's leading writers and trainers on the evolution of the self, and people whose journeys have been affected by their work and words. For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co. Bernardo Moya here, founder of The Best You. Today I've got the pleasure, the honor of talking to Sara Davison. Sara. I always get her name wrong, and I will explain why in a minute. But Sara, hi, welcome. Thank you for being here, darling.
Hi, hon. Yeah, really good to be here. Thanks.
Thank you. So Sarah's known as the Divorce Coach. She's created new ways to cope up with breakups and divorce. She's combined massive experience with her coaching skills and her own personal divorce, which I'm sure she'll share a little bit about. And she's written quite a few books, best-selling books. The first one was Uncoupling, How to Survive and Thrive After Breakup and Divorce. And, she's a media commentator. She's all over the press. I mean, I know a lot of you that are in the UK have probably seen Sarah all over the media, but you know, she's done so much in all sorts of newspapers, magazines, obviously in TV, all sorts. She's all over the place. She's managed to build a phenomenal brand. She's a master practitioner with 20 years experience. And, she's developed a global business doing what she does with, which I would say a thriving business, because unfortunately, you know, there's a lot of uncoupling going out there, isn't there?
Yes, there is. There is. Yeah.
So tell me, you're originally from the UK, brought up there. I know obviously that you've got massive experience in the whole personal development world. You know, you were one of those that were jumping in the room with Tony Robbins many, many years ago. And you've read all the books. You've read a lot of the books. You've attended a lot of the courses, a lot of the seminars. And then I know you did your NLP training quite a few years ago. And obviously, you know, you're on your journey now where you help people. But tell me about your early years and kind of what got you really hooked into kind of what you're doing now, which was obviously, you know, something that is helping so many people.
Well, in the early years, I didn't really fit in at school, and I was sort of conditioned at school to think I wasn't going to be very successful because I wasn't top of the class, and I wasn't really in the middle of the class, and I wasn't particularly popular. And so I just thought I wasn't going to be particularly successful. That was my mindset. And it was only after I left school, my dad had the opportunity with working with some Americans to go on a Tony Robbins seminar. He said to me, Sara, I want you to try it because it's mind-blowing. So I went on my first Tony Robbins seminar when I was 20 years old. And it completely took the blinkers off me, because he says on stage, you can create the life you want to live, which was not what I was brought up to believe. I was brought up to believe that I wasn't really going to be able to, because I didn't have what it took. So I started using the information that I learned on that seminar, and I completely changed my whole life around, because I decided to set up a business where I was the boss. And I hired people, and we had a team of 8 people flying motivational speakers from America to the UK, which is how I met Paul McKenna, actually, who's the person that I know you work really close with now, Bernardo. And I did my NLP training with Paul and Richard Bandler. Gosh, it must be 19 years ago, something crazy now, something like that. So, yeah, so that opened a lot of doors for me. And I worked with some amazing people, some amazing trainers like Anthony Robbins. I had the pleasure of working with some of his team up close. I went to every seminar. Like I said, I read every book. I went all over the world doing seminars. I did all of Paul McKenna's events with Rich Bandler. And I'm so passionate about personal development. I've been in the industry for so long now, and I've seen so many people who started off together, like Jason Bale, who I know you know well, Bernardo. He and I were jumping around to that very Tony Robbins seminar back in the day. So, yeah, I've been around it for so long, and I'm so passionate about it because I know how it's helped me, especially the NLP. So when I went through my own divorce, it hit me like a freight train. I didn't see it coming. But I realised that there was no specific help for people going through divorce at the time. There was therapy, you go to therapy, but nothing specific. And my divorce was very acrimonious, very difficult. And I was a single parent overnight with a son. My son was only 1 at the time. So I quickly used my coaching skills and combined that with the divorce experience that I was going through to kind of just really take one step each day, because I was really struggling. And then my lawyer realised that I was surviving quite a difficult situation and recommended that I speak to some of her clients to help them. And I just realised there was no one really doing it. So I wrote my first book, Uncoupling. It was a bestseller, and then it kind of took off from there. So now I spend my time helping people cope better with any kind of breakup all over the world. I also train coaches to become breakup and divorce coach practitioners as well. So it's 2 different sides to it now.
Well, there's many sides to it. You've been very, very busy. And but I think kind of one of the things that I share for those of you that are listening is that there's a lot of people that, I say this frequently, and I don't mean it to offend anyone, but a lot of people should read their own books. And what I'm saying is there's so many incongruent people in the industry who, talk about happiness or talk about success. Or talk about being wealthy and rich. We've talked about this, haven't we? And they're not the real deal. And I think kind of what it takes to stand out in the industry is to obviously have vast knowledge and expertise, but also to be very congruent and walk your talk. And this is what you've done, in my opinion. You've done that. You've done that very well. And you're a true pro, because I think the take that you and I have in comparison to someone else is that, you see, if someone wants to become a coach and all of a sudden, I don't know, they got fed up with their job and I'm going to become a coach. And all of a sudden, they do this coaching course online or whatever. And then that's it. They want to go and get clients. They really haven't experienced a lot when it comes down to that expertise or advice that they're giving. But, the fact is with you that you read the books, you've attended the courses, you've promoted these people. So you know what it takes to put these events together. So you're obviously entrepreneurial. You also know what it takes to take all the necessary steps and how to take yourself seriously. And that's kind of what I love about you and your brand, is that you've built a phenomenal brand, but it's based on really, really solid foundations of being kind of very good at what you do. So before we get into more details, darling, what I wanted to ask you is that what does it take to be kind of like a real good, true, authentic coach? What does it take to help someone really?
Well, I always say that you've got to have your own personal experience of the situation. So, for example, I coach people through breakups because I've been through a really tough breakup and managed to cope with it and come out the other side and turn it into a positive experience. And so I think you need to be able to dig deep and have your own personal experience, because then it's not just something you've learned on a weekend seminar, like you say. You haven't just gone and done something. So I've got a qualification, now I can sort your life out for you. It's also not about telling people what to do. It's about helping people unpack all the options, look at all the different options. Because when you're in massive stress and overwhelm, we can become quite myopic about the future and what it holds. And sometimes it's a black hole. Sometimes it's just a blank canvas. But that's why we get stuck. So having the ability to actually say, look, I've been there and I've got my own experience, but combining that with some serious tools like you get on your NLP training, which I highly recommend, because that is what really helped me take my coaching skills to the next level. And whilst I'd read all the books and I'd done all the seminars, and I still hear this from people that come to me now saying, I want to be a coach, and I've done a life coaching course, but I still don't know what to say if a client turns up. So that's why I focus on just the techniques that blow the doors off, because what we want is those massive transformations. We don't want the tinkering around the edges, like, oh, Sarah, help me with it. Nah, we want to be like, wow, boom, first session, that's changed things. That's given me hope. Now I know where I'm going. And I think that comes from, well, one, experience, and that comes with confidence over time, but also having your own personal experience to say, I know you can get through this. I know, because I've been there and I've been on the floor and I've been crying. I know what it takes to pick yourself up and carry on. So I think it's that, having the honest, real experience yourself, so that you can say, I walk my talk. And also, no one's perfect. We all have challenges in life. Are you still using the techniques? And I use my NLP every single day in all areas of my life. So I think it's important that you sort of walk your talk. Absolutely, it's essential.
It is said that we live in a world our questions create. And it's true. Those that have succeeded in life, those that stand out, those that have made a difference, those that are inventing, those that are exploring, pushing the boundaries of reality are based on those that have asked themselves empowering questions. In my new book, The Question, Find Your True Purpose, I help you find your true purpose, find your legacy. For more information, go to www.thequestion.co. If you're interested in working with me, contributing to the magazine, maybe speaking at any of our many events around the world, partnering or licensing The Best You, go to www.thebestyou.co.
What I wanted to ask you was some of those techniques that you use, because we'll talk a little bit more about NLP, but in particular, what are kind of like, so someone comes to you for the first time. I'm sure you give them a lot and you deliver a lot, but what are kind of the essential basic skills that you think people miss the point, and for you are obviously kind of like, and I know for me, for example, it's teaching people about their internal dialogue. A lot of people, I haven't got an internal dialogue. Well, that's the one we're talking about. What kind of skills what kind of tips or techniques would you give someone when you're going to start working with them? For example, you can share one or two.
Well, first of all, I need them to tell me as much as they possibly can, because that's key. I need to understand the full story. But actually, what I find is that people aren't usually, they'll say what you think. So, for example, yesterday I had a lady in my clinic. She was sitting on my sofa, because I do it in a really relaxed, friendly, warm environment that I would have liked when I was going through my breakup, not some cold therapy office, So she was sitting there curled up, made her a cup of tea, and she was super strong. She's one of those women that just, she has her stuff together because she has to. She's got 3 kids, she's dealing with betrayal, she's got life happening left, right, and centre. And so she looks like she's got it together. But actually underneath that, the skills that I really use on my body, I call them my people reading radar skills, which is what I teach, which is actually looking beneath what you see. So it's about understanding that some people are just in the mode and they're used to coping. So they're running these strategies which they think help them, which they do, because she's surviving, but she's broken inside. So it's about allowing that to come out and questioning that, so that she puts that out there, we can discuss it and look at all the different options. And I think making sure that they've got, well, first of all, reassuring them that it's normal, because that's what personal experience of my own brings, is that I know that it's normal to try and hold it together, but underneath me thinking, this isn't, I might look strong, and everyone's like, oh, you can cope, you can do anything. But underneath you're like, oh my goodness, I need someone just to give me a hug. So it's recognizing that in people, but there's also making they've got a support team around them. Because one of the things we do when we're going through a breakup is that we will be in overwhelm, and we'll have all these questions flying around in our mind that will cause us anxiety, stress, overwhelm, worry. We might feel sick with it. It'll have a ripple effect across all our different areas of our life. So friendships, parenting, doing our job. So what we need to do is really step back and break it down into small chunks, so we understand exactly what it is that is overwhelming us, so we can deal with it. And in order to get the answers to those questions, we need to have people on our breakup support list who can answer those questions, so they're not left in our heads. Because what we'll do is we'll run away from it. So, for example, classic with a breakup or a divorce, financial situation, they're worried because it's normal to be worried that when you break up, your lifestyle is going to change, it's going to be worse, you're going to struggle. And that causes a lot of anxiety, sleepless nights. So what do? As humans, we run away from it. We say, I don't want to talk about it. I can't cope. Let's just not go there. And we stick our head in the sand. But that only makes it worse. So actually helping people to face those fears or those worries that are chasing around them, and then create a plan to get them that advice. So, for example, if they had a financial advisor on their breakup support list, then at least they know that there's someone there that can give them those answers. So it just dials down. I talk a lot about dialing down the negative emotions that control you. So just by having the experts on your list as their number one priority, you can dial down the anxiety, because you're going to have a way to get those answers. And even if you don't like them, the clarity gives you power, because then you can put a plan together to cope better, to find a way through. So it's not hanging over you anymore. You're like, okay, it's a bit crap, it's a bit rubbish, I don't like it, but at least I know where I'm at, and now I need to make X amount to survive, or I need to sell my house, or I need to do something, but at least you know. So I think that's important.
Now, there's obviously a lot of change and a lot of things, come into place when, there's a separation, as you were saying, the financial aspect, the emotional aspect, your kids, your environment, your friends. I suppose it's just very difficult to kind of stay focused and really look at the positive outcome, isn't it? And is that part of what you try to do, is try to take them on where it will go? Because eventually, time, everyone says, hey, time's a great healer, with time, but it can take a long time unless you actually
it take a long time, yeah. And that's why these techniques that I share with clients, that it's about speeding that up, because time is a great healer. And 5 years down the line, you're not going to have that emotional intensity, but we don't want to wait 5 years, do we? We want to power through it. And of course, there's no magic wand to take away all the pain. I think you've got to be realistic about that, because we're human. We feel, most of us will have empathy, so we'll be feeling those emotions because we're grieving the end of a relationship that meant so much to us. So, even in 5 years' time, you might think back, and that person will always have a place in your heart. You may always love that person, or have still carry some feelings for them. It doesn't have to have that jarring feeling. It doesn't have to have that pain. So the trick is, whilst I'm working with clients to deal with the initial overwhelm or the challenge that they're bringing to me, whether it's a court case coming up or an issue with their children or dating again, we're also trying to paint this canvas of their future as bright as we possibly can. And that is how we get their sparkle back. And that's how you tip the balance from being focused on the past, focused on the now, focused on everything that maybe you feel you've lost, to actually, let's create some opportunities, let's create some hope, let's create some excitement, so you've got a compelling future to move towards. So eventually you're going to be talking about this to your friends rather than the ex and the story, and it's not belittling the sad story, because some of them are extremely sad, but if you're going to stay focused on that, that's all you're going to get. So it's about working through this at the same time as tipping the balance, so that we're focusing more on this bright picture we can work towards.
So, some people struggle with letting go in particular, don't they? I mean, and I know, again, we all think differently, we all feel differently. I suppose it's different if your spouse, left you, or vice versa. But I think that, I don't know, for me personally, I'm always a solution-driven person, so whenever I've had a challenge or a problem in life, whatever that may be, it annoys me, a stroke pisses me off, but kind of at the end of the day, I have to be looking at the solution. It's just because there's nothing I can do about that. And I know that in certain relationships, or couples of people, they want to carry on exploring, carry on discussing, but why? And that why at the end of the day is the fact that it did happen. So where is the thin line between closure, okay, providing the necessary closure, and then, hey, come on, let's move on?
Yeah. Well, I think what I call those questions, why me, and why don't they love me anymore, and what could I have done differently, and what's wrong with me, they're what I call hamster wheel questions, because they take you round and round in circles and you never get off that wheel. It's like constantly. And also, as you know, Bernardo, from the NLP, if you're asking yourself negative, disempowering questions, your brain's going to come up with negative, disempowering answers like, well, you're a bit boring, or maybe you were overweight, or maybe you were a crap cook, or whatever. It's going to come up with answers. They're not necessarily going to be the right ones, but it's going to fire stuff at you. It's going to keep you stuck. So, first of all, we've got to take control of the remote control to our brain and start feeding it with more empowering questions that are going to give you more empowering answers. Like, what can I do right now to make myself feel better, or to change this, or to speak to someone that can get me the right help to move forward? So that's important. You also, one of the great techniques for letting go is that as humans, we tend to romanticize about the past. So we look back and we sort of strap on these rose-tinted glasses and we say, oh, but do you remember when we went to Thailand, or we went here and we did this, and he used to hold my hand and she used to take me to work every morning. It was all so great. And what we don't do is we look at the reality of the things that actually pissed us off, that upset us, that made us feel not good about ourselves, unhappy, irritated. So I think it's important to write a list of all the things that weren't right, so that when we sort of shift back into this slightly unrealistic reality of what it was like, we can shift in the actual new reality. So actually, this is the truth. This is the reality. So again, it jars you and allows you just to see it for what it was, which will then free you up to be able to move on. But you've got to take massive action to move on. You can't keep doing the same things and expect things to change. You've got to change your environment. You've got to get out and meet new people. You've got to start thinking differently. I always say the outside isn't going to make the biggest change, but it will make a difference. So, paint your nails pink or grey, or, have your hair cut, start wearing a different colour, go to different places, drive a different way to work. Do things differently, because that will make a difference for you.
Yeah, that's great advice, boys and girls. So I hope some of you are making notes. Now, you all the things you were talking about, the question, I was just thinking about my book. You were obviously talking about my book, The Question, Find Your True Purpose, which is all about the empowering questions. But I wanted to, what's the difference? What is the difference in obviously finding a way in, what do you do? What I'm trying to say is, what do you do if you're in a relationship whereby you're just not happy? Okay, you're not happy, and because of the kids, because of not the kids, you decide to. And I'm not saying, listen, you've got to stick at it as long as as long as there's something there. But what are your thoughts in living in an unhappy marriage, because and not moving on because you're scared of that, of what's going to happen next, and all the challenges you're going to go through?
Well, it's a great question. But I think divorce is the second most traumatic life experience we go through after death of a loved one. So you cannot take it lightly. It is not something to be rushed into. We need to give it time, because sometimes we just misreading the signals. I had a client the other day kept saying, but he doesn't love me, but he doesn't love me. And when we worked it out, his language of love, I don't know if you know those 5 languages of love from Gary Chapman, there's 5 ways we show our love and 5 ways that we feel loved. So, for example, she was telling him, I love you, and he never said it back. But that was because it wasn't his language of love. His was doing things for her. And when we looked at it, he was making a cup of tea, mowing the lawn, washing the car on a Sunday. He was doing lots of things for her to show his love. So ultimately, that was a miscommunication between the two of them. And when we cleared that up, it improved the situation. Now, I don't know if that's going to last forever, but it definitely shifted the dynamic, and they're still together and it's getting better. Some people, it's not that simple. Some people, you just drift apart over years, and what you had, that connection, just isn't the same. Life changes. We all change as we grow up. And one of the things I hear is, I'm staying for the kids.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just not a big believer that that's a healthy message for the children, because children pick up on what's going on at home, and they're much more sensitive, whether they hear you arguing or feel the awkwardness or the tension, or whether they just see that love to them as your role models, mum and dad. Love is, well, we sleep in separate bedrooms, we don't talk much, mum's a bit rude to dad doesn't come home very often. Is that what you want your kids to believe? That's what love is all about? Because they will take those beliefs on. You're their role models, you're their map of the world, and whatever you're teaching them is what they're going to pick up on, and then they're going to take those beliefs into their relationships and think, well, this is how I treat someone, or this is how I expect to be treated. Like, if someone does, love isn't putting someone first. Love is you're down here and I'm up here. So what are you teaching? Are you tolerating bad behavior and teaching your kids that that's what you do? If you got married, that's what you do. Just tolerate bad behavior, because that could be damaging for them. So I think you've got to think about it if you've got children from that perspective, but also for you. We live in a society where things change a lot, and a lot of divorces, celebrity divorces, they're married happily 1 minute and the next minute, there's one at the moment, isn't there, where they got divorced within hours of getting married. So there's give me the gossip. Who is this? Amber Anderson got married, and then I don't know what marriage it was, but it literally within hours, I think it was 8 hours, they were getting divorced. So I think it's kind of crazy, but that isn't a great role model for other people looking. But we're in such a celebrity culture, we think it's easy. And I can tell you now, it's not easy. You come out of marriage and you're not literally then just, some people are, but it's not just that easy. You don't come out to then find love again, you come out to be happy as you, to learn to love you, to learn to create a life around you where you are happy in yourself. And then someone else that comes along, that's a bonus. That you're not looking for someone to fix the gaps in you. So it's not the grass is greener. But actually, when you get out, so many more opportunities come your way. So if you've been in a toxic relationship or when you're not happy, one of the most surprising things for a lot of people is that when they come out, instead of feeling as bad as they think they're going to feel, they actually feel a new sense of freedom because they can do their own thing. They can think for themselves.
Absolutely. And that's something to embrace. To find out more about our latest projects, get a free coaching lesson, or download my book, go to www.bernardo-moya.com. So I think we spoke about this before, and on, it's not gender driven as far as men or women, because it's obviously both. I think kind of maybe when you come out of a relationship and you're obviously out there looking for love, I was saying to you that I think we commented last time that I believe that a lot of people really lower their standards, sometimes when it comes down to pursuing love, and because they I don't know, okay, look, I've been in a toxic relationship, I've divorced, I'm now here ready, available, and I'm Tindered out, and I keep meeting messes and people that are just simply not interested or not compatible, but I tend to believe that a lot of people just really lower their standards, whereby they're probably willing to accept something that's quite average in that pursuit for love, which then obviously is determined, is really gonna, they're gonna go on the same journey of unfortunately going through uncoupling again. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I see this all the time. My clients have two criteria for a new relationship when they first come to me. One is they have a pulse, and two is they show them one sign of affection. And then they do this thing I call limpet mode, where they literally sucker themselves to this poor person saying, I'm never going to be lonely again, you saved me. Because that quite often is their fear. It's not that they're necessarily consciously lowering their standards, it's that the fear of being alone is so great that it's literally how can I attach myself to anybody? So one of the things I always say is you've got to go on a journey of figuring out not just what you want from an ideal partner or your new partner, which we all know what we want. We've all got a vision of what our ideal partner looks like, what kind of lifestyle they have. That's the easy bit. But what do you need? And what we need is very different to what necessarily we might want. So we have to consciously understand that rather than just running the same patterns, which may attract the same partner, or as you say, even a lower standard of partner. So, for example, one of my clients, she went on a date today. I don't know how it went, but she's been looking for a guy who's tall, dark, handsome, and lives in a certain part of London. And she's so specific, which is great because she knows what she wants. However, the bit that she was missing is her last partner never listened to her. He didn't talk about emotions, and she used to be really frustrated by not being able to talk about her day because he just shut off to her. When she needed support or talk about emotions or where things weren't going right, he just couldn't do it. He wasn't in touch with those emotions. It just wasn't him. So she got very frustrated by that, and that's one of the major reasons why the relationship broke down. But she hadn't consciously thought about it that way, so she was still going for these guys who were fitting the same mold as her ex. So actually now we've selectively found somebody who she knows through friends who was very open about his emotions and talks. And so she's been out on a date with him today. So I'm hoping that went better. But it's about figuring out what you need as well as what you want. And just knowing that will open your eyes to those opportunities, and also screen out some of those people that are just going to break your heart all over again. We want to give you a bit of a safety net so you can go dating, because a lot of people, they don't want to go on Tinder. They don't want to go on a date. They never want to be with anyone ever again because they're so scared of the rejection and getting hurt again. So they stay at home, and then they get bored and upset and miserable and wonder why, I don't know about you, Bernardo, but the only person that knocks on my front door is my postman. And he's married and he's about 78. So I'm not interested. So you have to get out there. You have to go out and meet people. And so this is the point. You've got to know what you need as well as what you want. So then you can minimize the heartbreak and the heartache, because you can filter out the people that have the must not have qualities very early on.
Yep, great advice. And I think that's one of the things that, out of all the things in personal professional growth, and I know a lot of people talk about it, and I know a lot of people feel the same way, but it is really down to love. I mean, we're all, how can I make more money on social media? How can I become a coach? How can I become more motivated? And how can I make my first million or whatever it is? But essentially, basically, at the end of the day, we're all looking for love, you know, and love is it, you know, love is everything. And I wrote something, well, a couple of weeks ago, that I believe that love, you know, kind of in whatever form. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I get that there's some acrimonious divorces out there whereby maybe love exploded into into the universe, okay, into smithereens. But I believe that in general, that, you know, love simply transforms, you know, into a different way, you know. So that's the way I feel it should be, and I get it that it can't be all the time, because, you know, it takes two to tango, doesn't it? It takes two to have the best intentions. But I really believe that, kind of like, you know, when you've spent so much time with someone and you've loved someone so much, it's such a shame that it becomes so terrible, especially when you've had kids and you've had a relationship. It's just a shame that, you know, a lot of the times people aren't mature.
Yeah, it might be maturity. It might be out of fear.
Yeah. Schizophrenic.
Yeah, it could be any of those things. I think the thing is, though, you can't control anyone else's baby. You can only control yours. And my motto, my mantra for people is that you just got to do the right thing. And believe me, doing the right thing isn't always the easy thing, because sometimes you do want to chop up their clothes and put them in bin bags and throw them out the window. But, you know, you've got to do the right thing, and treating your ex with kindness and respect can be challenging at times, absolutely. But I think you've got to come from that place. But then moving on, you know, there's different ways of looking at love. There's different ways you can receive love. It doesn't have to be romantic love. You can get love from you having a better relationship with your children if you've got more quality time with them, if you're suddenly a single parent, or having those better relationships with friends that maybe you haven't seen for so long, or spending more time with your parents. Whatever it is, you can get love. You know, you don't just have to have romantic love. And then there's also, you don't have to find, and this is the good news, everyone, you don't need to look for Mr. Right or Miss Right. You can also just have fun with Mr. Right now or Miss Right now. Yeah. So there's a difference. So, you know, don't go out and think, I've only got to find this one person. It's so much pressure. Yeah. Just go out and have fun, and have boundaries for yourself and set them, and stay within those where you feel comfortable. But, you know, you don't have to set the rule up so you're constantly failing, because to find true love, which is all encompassing and all wonderful, you know, it's up there, and we want to enjoy the journey. So that's important. So whether it's Mr. Right or Miss Right now, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and building that relationship and friendship. And I think one of the things that I've really kind of understood, and I'm experiencing these last couple of years, is I've always been a believer in serendipity, but I also believe that every single thing happens for a reason. You know, people come into your life, or a quote's recommended or a book's recommended, and that takes you. So I really am very receptive to understanding why these things are happening, but I'm also really good at connecting the dots now. I know why I am somewhere and I'm meeting someone, and where that will go. And I'm saying this is because sometimes it's the same as opportunities in life. Sometimes sometimes it might be the size of a petrol tanker. You know, it's just literally been knocking on your door or around you. You know, and because you haven't got your blinkers open because you're looking for Mr. Right or Mrs. Right, which is blonde and whatever, you're missing that opportunity.
Absolutely. It's great advice. Absolutely. I think you just got to look out for those oil tankers. Yeah.
So tell me the difference between your two books, Uncoupling and Split.
So Uncoupling is sort of your overall guide to all the different techniques to getting through it. But the Split is more of a power manual, because it's from breakup to breakthrough in 30 days. So I've kind of chunked it into things you can do each day. So take it day 1, day 2, day 3, and do the exercises, follow through. And within 30 days, you're going to feel a lot better. You're going to start having those breakthroughs. You're going to start feeling like you're back in the driving seat of your life again. You're going to start to be able to dial down those negative emotions and take control of the remote control to your brain. So it's a lot more action-focused, result-focused. They're both great, though. They're both bestsellers, so yeah.
They're very good books. And no, especially in an industry where kind of like, you know, but you help clients in many different ways. So you got your books, and then you also, you know, for those coaches that are out there, you know, the NLPers who want an additional toolkit, you know, or you want to specialize or maybe have this added. So you also help coaches and trainers do what you do. Yeah,
I think the interesting thing is that the life coaching market these days is super saturated. So it's very hard to stand out in the crowd. And I think people, breakup and divorce coaches are relatively new in the UK, not so new in the States. But when I started out here about 8 years ago with breakup and divorce coaching, I had to educate everyone what a breakup and divorce coach was to start off with. Whereas now, a lot of people know that we exist. And it's a growing community. We've got over 50 coaches now who are in training and are trained. So it's a lot more well known. So I think, the thing is, how do you stand out in a crowded market to attract clients? So breakup and divorce coaching is unique, so people will find you, and then once they come in, you coach them on everything. It's not like we're only coaching breakup and divorce, because as we've discussed, it's dating, it's love, it's self-confidence, it's children, it's conflict, it's managing all sorts of things, how you turn up for work. So it is life coaching on a bigger scale, but it's a way of getting a hook to get people in. So yeah, that's a lot of what I do. Is I talk about is how to be the best coach, blow the doors off, but also attract clients so that you stand out in that marketplace.
And then
and also run retreats as well. Sorry.
And your retreats, yeah. And so now, when you deal with clients, you work with them either remotely, because you do work with clients remotely. For some of you that might be on the other part of the planet, well, you've got clients all over the world, haven't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
And then you do your retreats, which I know have been very successful, sold out every single time. You've been doing them for quite a few years. What's so amazing about that, the retreat?
Well, when I started out, they weren't selling out, Bernardo, but now they are, which is great. So you have to go on a bit of a journey. But yeah, I think the thing about retreats is, coaching one-on-one or coaching, is powerful, and it allows me to dive deep into that particular client's situation and help them. But actually, there's something magical about a retreat, because it's a small group of people coming together, and I do them in the most beautiful hotel in England, which is just stunning. And the environment counts, because you're taking 2 days out of your daily routine. We're immersing you in all my techniques and strategies, and you can talk and chat, and we have the questions. So I'm dealing still with everyone's individual story, but also you've got the power of the group. And I think when you're all sharing and you're all talking about things, you're going on a journey together, that dynamic is really intense and really empowering. And the bonds that are formed, I've got groups that, when I started out these retreats probably 6 years ago now, the first group, they still meet up for Christmas lunches. They still go dating together, so wingman, wingwoman. They go on holidays together. The friendships that are formed from each of these retreats are amazing. And you suddenly have a new group of friends who are single. It's not just your married friends now, because that can be a common issue when you go through a breakup. So you get the friendship, you get me live, we're there for 2 days. I lock the doors for some of it so you can't get away. Basically make sure we dial down of a lot of the negative emotions, and then replace them with some of the good stuff. So the transformations in 2 days are, incredible, because people are there, they're letting go of their negative stuff, they're getting some great tools and techniques, and they're getting the hope and the excitement, as well as getting instant changes. So when you can work close up with people in an environment where everyone's having breakthroughs and learning stuff, it really does catapult you through as fast as possible. This is my favourite part of what I do, actually.
But you do teach people online as well?
Yeah, I do, yeah. And I have an online retreat as well. So if you can't come to England for the retreat, I have it as a video program as well. And the coach training is online as well, because a lot of people, I've got coaches around the world now. So yeah, different countries doing it.
Okay, so no excuses, anyone. If you're, wherever you are, and wherever you are, and you're trying to do it alone, well, let me just tell you, it just takes a lot longer, and there's no need. That's one of the things that I believe is and I get it. And also I think here, you quite rightly, in the US is a different market. A lot of people have been having a coach, a mentor, for a very long time. But the reason why you want that is because it works, and I think that's kind of the challenge is that a lot of people try to do it alone. And when you have someone that has vast experience that can help you, guide you, you can speed this whole process up, and you can save so much time, so much money.
We have an online community as well. So once you sign up to this training, you're part of the community. So any questions you have, or you want to post something, or you want to ask, and everyone was asking me the other day, can we do a live event with you, Sara? So they're doing the online training, also a live event. So last week we did a live event. We got everyone in a room and we just did some honing your coaching skills sessions, role plays, case studies. Yeah, it was great fun. So, then we went out for dinner afterwards and had a drink. So it was, there is that as well, but you get the support from the online community as well to help you. So I think it's great, like you say, not to be alone when you're doing things like this. Because it can be lonely coaching, because it's your own business, you're doing it from home, you're an entrepreneur, like, Bernardo, you're doing a lot of things on your own. And it's nice to have that connection with others.
It is so nice to have people and to have a support mechanism around you. So you're coming to speak at the Best You Expo in LA, yeah?
I am. Yeah. I can't wait. I always come to Bernardo's events because they're the best. So if you're thinking about it, you've got to come, because he is the best promoter ever. And he's going to be speaking, and he's worth listening to. Get his books. He's amazing. How long have we been friends now? I don't know. I'm just trying to work it out. Must be 15?
15, 16 years. Yeah,
a long time. And, you're the real deal. You're a great guy. And you do what Bernardo does is he brings personal development to everyone, and that's such a gift, because these expos you meet the most amazing people. I mean, I came to the first day LA when you did, didn't I? And I met so many incredible people. Actually, I had a reading by, they had an amazing psychic there. Do you remember his name? Lali.
Oh, yeah.
And so this ring I still wear today. He did me the most amazing reading, told me things I could never have possibly told me. But then there was Mastin Kipp speaking there, and there were like some incredible people. And I met someone who I did a book deal with, and incredible, amazing opportunity. So yeah, I can't wait to come back. It's always great fun as well. So
yeah, well, thank you. You've been to all of them, haven't you? Yeah,
I have. I got my award. I won.
Yes.
Award. I still have that in my clinic every day, so people can come and touch it. I've been to all of them. I'm a big fan of your work, Bernardo.
Thank you very much. No, listen, that's what it is. We there's a lot of people there. Everyone is contributing, bringing, obviously even the people that attend, they're bringing great energy. They're bringing love, and they're bringing support. But there's some fantastic experts, and we build amazing relationships. Today I got an email from someone saying, because we do some complimentary tickets to the expo, says, is this free? Is this for real? Like, I can't believe it. This is so amazing. And the fact is that it is, and I've seen so many people grow and evolve with the Best You Expo. This last year in London was a game changer. We had around 13,500 people. There were so many people.
Amazing.
It was mad. And then I remember, a lot of people come, I came to Expo number 1, I came to Expo number 2, 3, and 4. People that we cured phobias, they would come back and say, hey, I'm here to see the snakes and the spiders again. So, but it's that community of individuals that we meet. And sometimes, people might come with one intention, or suddenly they meet someone else, or they listen to something else, and it takes them. But it's the relationships. I love the relationships that have grown from there, the connections that you all make. You met Brian and Janice Muldoon there. They met you, and kind of, I work with Brian and Janice now. So it's just kind of like there's just this big family. So I want to invite you all to come along and definitely to check out Sara. If you want to, if this is something that you need some help or support with, come and listen to her, because she's really a true expert. But you are the real deal, okay? You are, because you're such a professional, in the attention to detail with your branding, with the exercises, the thought that you put into everything that you do, and the amount of people that you've helped. So I really would encourage you to come and see Sara at the Best You Expo. That's on the 21st of March in LA. And what will you be sharing? What's going to be the title of your talk, apart from being in the booth and helping and assisting people, which you'll do? What are you going to be talking about?
So I'm doing 2 different talks. I'm doing, on the Friday, I think I'm doing how to survive and thrive any breakup or divorce. So if you're going through that kind of heartbreak, then come along and see me there. And then on the Saturday, I'm talking about how to blow the doors off a coaching business. So if you've got a coaching business, or you're thinking about becoming a coach, the 5 secrets to growing a successful coaching business. So I'm going to be sharing those as well.
That's great. That's fantastic. Brilliant. Well, now, how can people find you?
So, my website is saradavison.com. And I'm on social media, Sara Davison, the Divorce Coach, Instagram, Facebook. Follow me. And yeah, that's how you find me.
Cool. Great. And for some of you that might be listening to this either before the event or after the event, please make sure you connect with her. The great thing is that this is going to be available online. We'll have it also as a podcast, and there's going to be plenty of opportunities for you to listen to this. But I want to thank you all. I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank you, darling, for being here, and I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Great to chat with you. Thank you.
Great to chat with you too. Take care. Lots of love. All the best. For more information, go to www.thebestyou.co.